Are you ready?
Okay. The July 22nd meeting of the Mayor and Council, Township of Fairfield, will come to order at 7:01. The meeting is being broadcast on channels 34 and 43 and the Township's YouTube channel, Township of Fairfield, Essex. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mayor, notice of this meeting is in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231 of the Laws of 1975, and it has been given by posting a notice of the scheduled dates and change in meeting time of all the conference and regular meetings of the Mayor and Council of the Township of Fairfield on the bulletin board in the municipal building and in the office of the municipal clerk, and by serving notice thereof to the Progress and Herald newspaper on December 21st, 2023.
Thank you, Denise. Please call the roll.
Councilman Campisi.
Here.
Councilman LaForgia.
Here.
Council President Cifelli.
Here.
Mayor Glees.
Here. Okay, public comment on agenda items only. Anyone wishing to speak on tonight's agenda, please come forward and do so. Seeing no one, we'll close that portion. Communications. The new library sign, I don't know if anybody drove by, but it's installed on Friday and it's loaded and we are up and running. We just have to put all of our features in there, but we've been waiting a long time for that. Also, the new website for the library has been up for a couple of weeks, and I'd like to thank Denise and Kathleen for their input in helping the library get up. If you notice, both websites are very similar, and that's by design because it was done properly the first time. That's really all I have tonight. Council President Cifelli.
Looks like a light night tonight. I have nothing from OEM. Our OEM coordinator's on vacation. And from the Finance Department, just a reminder that tax bills and water bills have been sent out. Both are due on August the 1st. And if you have not received either the tax bill or water bill, please contact the tax office. And that's all I have tonight.
Okay. Councilman LaForgia.
Mayor, briefly, the planning board did have a meeting a couple of weeks ago, and we had a few applications that were finalized and approved. And for recreation, the camp is up and running. I'd like to remind everyone that the park is closed until 12:30, just about 12:30 every day. It's a safety issue for all the children, so we ask that people please refrain from going to the park in the morning. And obviously, I'd like to thank all the police and the fire department, our public works, and our sponsors for the fireworks display, which we had at the end of the month, and was absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, it was great.
A lot of people were there. The park was filled, and the display was absolutely wonderful. So that's all we have for recreation today.
Okay, thank you, John. Councilman Campisi.
Thank you, Mayor. So for the Municipal Alliance, the Municipal Alliance sponsored a summer camp bullying prevention magic show prepared by Prismatic Magic. The committee is also beginning to prepare for Winter Wonderland, which is scheduled for Saturday, December 7th. There will be a Devil's game and the Halloween event. Both of those events, the night will be determined at a later date, but those are all the events that are coming out for the Municipal Alliance. And no new update for the Environmental Commission.
Okay, thank you, Peter. Okay, approval of the June 24, 2024 regular and executive meeting minutes. If there are no questions, can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Councilman LaForgia, Councilman Cifelli.
Councilman LaForgia.
Aye.
Council President Cifelli.
Aye.
Councilman Campisi.
No vote.
Mayor Glees.
Aye. Okay, number 5, introduction of the 2024, would that be 2024 municipal?
That's 2024, yes,
Okay.
sorry.
A, Ordinance 2024-13, it's an ordinance to exceed municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Councilman Campese,
Second.
Councilman LaForgia.
Councilman Campese.
Aye.
Councilman LaForgia.
Aye.
Council President Cifelli.
Aye.
Mayor Galise.
Aye.
Mayor, if I can, the second reading is going to be August 26th.
Great. Okay, thank you. B, resolution for the introduction of the 2024 budget. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Council President Cifelli,
Second.
Councilman Campese.
Council President Cifelli.
Aye.
Councilman Campese.
Aye.
Councilman LaForgia.
Aye.
Mayor Galise.
Aye. C, resolution for the computation of reserve for uncollected taxes for the 2024 budget. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Councilman LaForgia,
Second.
Council President Cifelli.
Councilman LaForgia.
Aye.
Council President Cifelli.
Aye.
Councilman Campese.
Aye.
Mayor Galise.
Aye. And D, deferred regional high school tax. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Councilman Campese,
Second.
Council President Cifelli.
Councilman Campese.
Aye.
Council President Cifelli.
Aye.
Councilman LaForgia.
Aye.
Mayor Galise.
Aye. Deferred local district school tax. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Councilman LaForgia,
Second.
Council President Cifelli.
Councilman LaForgia.
Aye.
Council President Cifelli.
Aye.
Councilman Campese.
Aye.
Mayor Galise.
Aye. Okay, number 6, discussion and introduction of ordinance, ordinance number 2024-14. It's a bond ordinance providing an appropriation of $1,020,000 for various capital improvements and purposes for and by the Township of Fairfield in the County of Essex, New Jersey, authorizing the issuance of $969,000 in bonds or notes of the township for financing part of the appropriation. Motion to introduce,
So moved.
Council President Cifelli,
Second.
Councilman LaForgia.
Council President Cifelli.
Aye.
Councilman LaForgia.
Aye.
Councilman Campese.
Aye.
Mayor Galise.
Aye. B, ordinance 2024-15. It's an ordinance of the Township of Fairfield, Essex County, New Jersey, rescinding ordinance 2024-12 and amending and replacing Chapter 2, Section 11.2, Department of Police, Probationary Police Officer Eligibility and Appointment of the Township Code. Introduction to that ordinance. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Councilman Campese,
Second.
Councilman LaForgia.
Councilman Campese.
Aye.
Councilman LaForgia.
Aye.
Council President Cifelli.
Aye.
Mayor Galise.
Aye.
Mayor, also the second reading will be August 26th.
August 26th, thank you. Okay, number 7, second reading and public hearing of ordinance has been rescinded in favor of the 2024-15 stated above. Can I have a motion to rescind ordinance 2024-12?
So moved.
Second.
Council President Cifelli, Councilman LaForgia.
Council President Cifelli.
Aye.
Councilman LaForgia.
Aye.
Councilman Campese.
Aye.
Mayor Galise.
Aye. Okay, consent agenda. Administration Department resolutions. Interlocal agreement between the Packanack, Lincoln Park, and Fairfield Sewerage Authority. Engineering Department resolutions. Award of professional service contract to Matarazzo Engineering for surveying services for Valentino Road in the amount of $5,500. Fire Department Resolution C, authorization to enter into the MSA meter service plan for CO and natural gas meters from Whitmer Associates in the amount of $1,924. D, authorization to repair ladder number 1 from Fire and Safety Services in the amount of $6,681.64. Item E, authorization to perform maintenance on ladder 1 from Fire and Safety Services in the amount of $6,300. Item F, authorization to amend Resolution 2024-344 relating to the purchase of nozzle equipment from New Jersey Fire Equipment Company in the revised amount of $3,600. Police Department Resolution G, authorization to rent message boards for various flooding events from Herc Rentals in the amount of $2,740. Public Work Resolution H, authorization for emergency purchase of parts for water main repair at Hollywood and Nowsnick from Carner Brothers in the amount of $3,319.57. I, authorization to purchase parts for water main break at Hollywood Ave and Nowsnick Drive from Capital Supply Construction Products in the amount of $2,747.44. Item J, authorization to purchase yearly updates for vehicle scanner equipment from Snap-on Industrial in the amount of $2,911.07. Item K, authorization to repair police vehicle number 425 from Route 23 Auto Mall in the amount of $2,243.04. Item L, authorization to hire All-American Sewer Service relating to emergency clean-out of sewer backup at Matt Drive in the amount of $1,800. Item M, authorization to hire All-American Sewer Services relating to emergency clean-out of heavy grease buildup at Fairfield Road and Fairfield Court in the amount of $1,795. Item N, authorization to hire All-American Sewer Service relating to the emergency clean-out of sewer backup at Crescent Drive in the amount of $2,400. Items O, authorization to provide annual fire extinguisher inspections from Cintas Fire Protection in the amount of $1,649.75. Recreation Department, Resolution P, accepting the letter of resignation from Brian Geiger from the Recreation Parks Department. Q, authorization to hire Sophia Russo as a substitute supervisor on an as-needed basis for summer camp program effective immediately. Item R, approval to rescind Resolution 2024-368 relating to the hiring of Frank D'Alessio in the Recreation Department. Item S, authorization to purchase football uniforms from Lizar Sporting Goods in the amount of $4,598.30. Tax collector resolutions T through triple H, as stated on the agenda. Municipal clerk, resolution triple I, approval of a Tricky Tray raffle number 2024-09 for Angels of Animals on September 26, 2024. Triple J, approval of an on-premise 50/50 raffle number 2024-10 for Angels of Animals on September 26, 2024. Triple K, approval of an on-premise 50/50 raffle number 2024-07 for NJ State First Aid Council on October 18th and 19th, 2024. Double L, approval of a Tricky Tray raffle 2024-08 for New Jersey State First Aid Council on October 18th and 19th, 2024. If there are no comments, questions, or corrections, may I have a motion to accept the consent agenda as stated?
So moved.
Councilman Campisi,
Second.
Council President Cifelli.
Councilman Campisi.
Aye.
Council President Cifelli.
Aye.
Councilman LaForgia.
Aye.
Mayor Galise.
Aye. Okay, Joe, you're up.
Mr. McCluskey, our Chief Financial Officer, has certified that the funds are available. I'd like to make a motion to pay the bills in the amount of $6,257,933.11.
Second.
Johnny, make you nervous?
I'm sorry.
Council President Cifelli.
Aye.
Councilman Campese.
Aye.
Councilman LaForgia.
Aye.
Mayor Galise.
Aye. Nobody's used to those big numbers, Joe. It's okay. Nobody's used to those. We
No, I
never,
am
we never
used
get
to
to, we
it.
never get to read those numbers, so.
Yeah.
Okay. Does anyone have any written communications? Unfinished business from the board? Nothing from the council? New business?
Mayor, I'd like to touch on some new business that you actually introed tonight. It's the 2024 municipal budget. You and I and John Kleski, our CFO, worked very hard on this budget. In times like this where inflation is out of control and costs are out of control and people at home know from themselves, from just going to the grocery store, putting gas in their car, insurances, how the budget, their own home budget has increased. You can imagine what it's like on a budget here. So the good news is we were able to keep the increase to approximately 3.3%, which for the average homeowner comes out to about a little less than $12 a month, or $142.21 for the year. The average home has gone up over the last year. The average home last year was $529,188. This year, the average home is $539,753. The budget increased by about, the local tax rate increased about a little over a penny and a half, 0.16. So all I can say is that I think due to the concerted effort and the choices that we made, I think we came in with a very good, tight budget, and once again, put the taxpayers first. So I want to thank both the mayor and our CFO for all the help putting this budget together and making the decisions that had to be made.
Yeah, I concur, and I'll send it back, and because nobody worked harder on getting it down to where it was supposed to be than you have. So we'd like to all thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, let's see. Public comment session. Anyone wishing to be heard, please come forward. State your name and address for the record.
Stay on.
Is it on?
Hello again. Aaron Lowe, 72 Pier Lane.
Aaron,
Pull that a little closer.
Oh, sure,
is it
yeah.
on?
Yeah, the green light's on.
Perfect,
We're good?
thank you.
All right. I just wanted to say thank you to Councilman Campese and McGlynn. They responded to my emails that I sent after the last time I was here for reaching out and talking about it. I hope the rest of you got it. I hope you read it. I would appreciate that. But I went and I listened. I spoke to a lot of people. A lot of people reached out to me in the community. They're pretty upset about what they heard. But that's not why we're here. I went and I did some research down at the county because I listened to what Mr. Miller said very forcefully, and he believed in what he said. I respect what he said. So I did my own research. I went to the county because what he said was the reason there's an easement is because we don't own the land. That makes sense. Because if you didn't own the land and you put public utilities underneath it, you're taking the land, right? That's not allowed. So I went and I said, well, there's a water line as well. I got the as-built water line and sewer line maps of Martin's Lane. And every single piece of property on Martin's Lane, there are no easements besides the one that was presented. There's no easement for the water line. The sewer line appears, now I'm no expert in reading these maps, to have gone past Lot 20. Then there's PSE&G. PSE&G has a natural gas line under the road. Who gave PSE&G permission to put a gas line, a public utility, under private land? Well, the township must have. How is it possible, under what theory, could the township possibly give permission to a third party to go under private land without obtaining an easement? Because public utility easements are very common. That doesn't make sense to me. And I can't find in anywhere, and I went down and I went back 3 or 4 sales on each house. Goes back to the 30s. There's no easements anywhere except for the one that we know about. So I don't believe that both things can be true. How can you need an easement because you don't own the land for a sewer line, but you don't need an easement because you don't own the land with a gas line and a water line? That doesn't make sense to me. I also don't understand how a third party that's not us or the township can be granted permission, not by the landowners, to put a public utility under the road. What I also don't understand is when he said, what happened previously, I'm not concerned about. That was confusing to me. The township has paved the road twice already. There are no permits for paving the road. Private parties took out no permits, according to the township. They didn't take out permits to put in a gas line. They didn't take permits out to put in a water line. How is that possible? I believe the township doesn't take out permits to do work under roads that they own. Right? So how is that the township has either allowed private parties, and I talked to my grandmother, who's the only living person who's been there since 1959, I believe, says, we didn't do this. The town did it. Okay, well, how is the town ripping up private roads? I don't understand. Because if in one sense you're being told, we need an easement because we don't own the land, but then there are no more easements anywhere. And the as-built water line, the map, goes all the way down the end of the road. It doesn't stop at lot 20. It goes down to 22 and 23. I don't understand how that's possible under Mr. Miller's theory that we need an easement because we don't own it. Also, he said very forcefully that there's a state statute that requires roads be accepted by ordinance. So I went through the statutes. I found 2 that could possibly be the ones he's speaking about. Perhaps there's more, and if there are, I would like to know what statute he's referring to. The ones I found are NJSA 40:67-1, ordinances relating to streets and highways. The first line of the statute says townships may. Now that's significant because if it says shall, that also means must. But may leads us to the case law because courts interpret statutes, right? If they're ambiguous, a court's going to interpret it because there's a genuine disagreement about what it says. The courts have done that because there is the wording, the phrasing, it says may. It doesn't require townships to do it. It allows them to do it. That leads to genuine disagreements about dedication and acceptance of roadways. As late as 2017, quote, no particular formal acceptance of a dedication is required. That's what the case law says. And I said this last time and Mr. Miller said it didn't matter. However, that wording shall leads you to a genuine disagreement about the acceptance of a roadway, which leads you to the line of case law that I've cited and sent to all of you. And this is from 2017, quoting cases from both 1966 and 1971. Municipalities by appropriate ordinance or resolution may formally accept an offer of dedication. A municipality may also accept an offer of dedication by other official conduct that manifests an intent to treat the land in question as dedicated to public use. I think allowing PSE&G, a public utility, access to private land is your intent to treat the land in question as dedicated to public use. It continues. Implied acceptance of an offer of dedication of an easement for a road may be found through improvement and maintenance, which the township has done for decades, by the municipalities such as installing stop signs, lighting, road signs, quote, water and sewer lines, which you've done, resurfacing, which you've done, and routine upkeep, which you've done. So these are the things that I found, and this is my thinking. And it's not possible that I could come up here and make all of this stuff up and just be flat wrong. There must be some truth to what I'm saying. The other statute that I found is 40:67-23.7, dedication of a road or street, acceptance by a municipality. That deals with accepting a road by a qualified private community, and that statute says must. But we're not a qualified community, so I don't think that one applies. So if there's another one I'm missing that still leads to this, I'd be willing to talk later, another day. I don't want to get into a big back and forth like we did last time. And like I said in my email, I would like to do this in the least adversarial way possible. I would like to be an adult about this. We have normal conversations. We don't have to have back and forths like we did last time. Because I can say the amount of people that told me, and a lot of you have known me my entire life, fairly restrained last time I was here. I think my grandfather would have been very surprised at how well I conducted myself, right? I think we can all laugh at that, right? The other thing that I found, which is very interesting, is I looked through your letter again, Mr. Gasparini, and there was one piece that I believe it was scanned in, so it was more like a negative. You couldn't really read it, right? And I don't think that was intentional. I'm not implying that it was. But when I was at the county, I found the original copy from 1959, and this is from Martin to his son, Terry Martin to his son. What I found very interesting in this was if you go to the second page, it says, together with a permanent easement and use of right-of-way of a certain roadway approximately 20 feet wide, comma, which is also a proposed street. Now, if that's not an intent to dedicate a roadway to a township, I'm not quite sure what is, right? And this was recorded in the county. You have it, you sent it to me, right? You've seen it. So I'm trying to put all of the pieces together here to come to a conclusion that I can't seem to come to, because I'm trying to see your side. But what I'm not seeing is how a township paves a road twice, because that's the only reason it's paved, because you guys paved it. There are no permits for any work done anywhere, according to the Oprah requests that I've done. Engineering department has nothing. Construction has nothing. They don't exist. How is that possible? I don't see how that's possible, that we either did it, you guys didn't know? It's like sneaky. I don't think that's possible, right? So I'm trying to understand, you know, you've improved the road, you've paved the road multiple times, you know, you've plowed the road for at least 44 years, I want to say, 1980. Now you don't want to plow the road anymore, even though there's a statute that allows you to plow it, which removes the liability from the township. So you guys have been plowing it for 44 years without liability. No problems. Nobody said a word. Now all of a sudden we just don't want to because there's new liability? I don't understand. Townships obviously have immunity from liability for specific things. We know that. And if the statute is there and it's constitutional and it allows for it, why are we doing that? We can have a reason, we can have a disagreement about the road being paved. Been having it for 15 years now. Doesn't mean we got to go the extra mile and say, well, now we're not going to do this either. Like, we can have these conversations, and we could be adults. We could be gentlemen about this. I think I do have a lot of respect for all of you up here. I've known a lot of you most of my life, and I'm not coming here to pound the table, to yell, to scream, to tell you you're wrong. What I'm telling you is I've come with all of this stuff. It's been months that I've been doing and looking at these things in a good faith effort to see if perhaps what you're saying was right and I was wrong. And I told Mr. McGlynn on the phone, I said, if I'm wrong and I go to the county and there are easements for everything, I will come here and I will tell you, I apologize, you're right, and that's the end of it. But that's not what happened. What I found was there are no easements. And I'm trying to understand how the things that were said last time jive with what's here. Under what theory are you allowed to, you must need an easement for one thing, you do not need an easement for anything else? I don't know. So these are the things that I've found Again, I have the as-built sewer and water maps. You can take a look at them for yourselves. I'm sure you gentlemen all have access to it, right? And for the legend, there's a dotted line on lot 20 that only goes to the top of the road, which indicates what appears to me to indicate utility easement, right? Because that's how it is behind Martin's Lane as well. In Pier Lane, there's utility and drainage easements all along where the Deep Val runs, right? But they're nowhere else. So I don't understand how that's possible. And the road is falling apart. We have multiple kids under the age of 12 that live on that road that ride their bikes. They can't ride their bikes. They can't run around. Can't play ball. Can't do anything. And, I find it ironic that I'm here, asking you guys to do something that you've done before. This isn't a novel thing. And, I agree. Mr. Gasparini, you said you want to put the taxpayers first. I agree. I'm a taxpayer. My grandmother's a taxpayer. My neighbor here is a taxpayer. Everybody else, we're all taxpayers. I don't understand, and I still can't figure out why you don't want to do it. I don't get it. So we're here, we're having a decent conversation, and I would be more than inclined to have further conversations with any of you, should you see fit, and sit down, go have coffee, do whatever. I'll show you what I got. We'll have conversations like adults. No talking down to anybody, no getting mad. Mr. Miller, no offense, no telling me there's nothing else to discuss. I don't want to talk like that. What I want to talk like is adults. And I have this in front of me, and I didn't make it up. It's from the courts of the state of New Jersey. It's from the county records office. It's all real. So I thank you for your time. If anybody would like to call me, most of you have my cell phone. I'd be more than happy to talk to any of you. And again, I thank you for your time, and I hope you gentlemen enjoy your summer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Anthony Mario Cordy. My friends call me Mario. I also live on a street that used to be Martin's Lane. And I'm just finding out about all this. So I'm not as up to date as Aaron is on it. I looked at some of the paperwork he has. It's compelling. I would like to point out a very important point to everyone, is that there is only one person living on that street who has any knowledge of the original road, of the undedicated road, apparently. Is that the correct term? So the rest of us moved in later, at later times. I myself moved in 2005. I had no knowledge of Pier Lane, which is actually the legal name of the street. And I assume at some point in the past, the town, in conjunction with the post office maybe, changed the name of Martin's Lane to Pier Lane. And I am at 68 Pier Lane. And all the other houses are designated as Pier Lane as well. I assume everyone knows about this because apparently Aaron had a big discussion with y'all last time he was here. So I hope I'm not talking about stuff that you aren't intimately interested in. But what I see is a street that was paved shortly after I moved in. I don't remember if it was 05 or 06 or 07, but it was at some point there. I didn't think anything of it. I thought it was a city street. It was getting paved. I have a sewer. I have a water line. I have gas. I have electricity. Nothing in my deed, and nothing transferred to me at any time during the purchasing process or subsequent to that from the town ever communicated to me that this was some sort of undedicated road. So this is a big surprise to me. So it is a little bit shocking about that. But it seems to me, and I like to go with common sense when best I could in life, if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a duck. And if it's a street that's been taken care of by the township and supplied with utilities and paved and patrolled by police officers And everything else that a normal street is accustomed to, you assume it's a normal street. And now we're finding out that somehow it's not a normal street, and our taxes are not sufficient to upkeep the street like everybody else in town. It seems unbalanced from my perspective. And as I said, I haven't dug down deep into the paperwork. And listen, I know how that works. When you got 60, 70, 80, 90, whatever years of paperwork, you could put together any narrative. We could decide at the end of the day that this is an unincorporated, that these are personal people who have nothing to do with the town, even though we pay our taxes, even though we make donations to the fire department, even though we come to all the town functions and support you guys every time when we vote. And I don't know anybody here, by the way. The only connection I might have, tiny little piece, is my sister is friends with your wife, Mr. Gasparini, my sister Donna. That's the only connection I might have, you know, to this group here. So I'm just, I guess, a stranger to you all. And I'm sorry about that. But, you know, the working world keeps you busy sometimes. Maybe when I retire, I could get more involved with the town, you know, on a political basis. I would urge you to remember my first point, is that all of us, except for Aaron's grandmother, who is now how old? 88 years old, is the only person who has any knowledge of any of this. We all moved in thinking we were moving in a regular street in the township of Fairfield. And now we're being told it won't be paved again. We're being told it won't be plowed. What if we have 3 feet of snow and the fire department can't get to my house? It's unacceptable. It really is. And I don't have any little children anymore. But I feel for Aaron and his son because they can't play on that street. They can only play to the end of their driveway. So I would urge you to do whatever it takes to consider possibly that piece of paperwork that Aaron showed me that I don't fully understand, but it seems to me that there's such a thing in the law as implicit action, an implicit dedication of a street. So that maybe you can look back and say, hey, you know what? These people they have a right to feel the way they feel. You know, let's scrape up that little bit of money to pave that little street and keep plowing it. And I'll see you maybe the next time, guys. Thank you for hearing me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else wishing to be heard?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. My name is Dave Little. I'm the managing member of Inclusion Gourmet. We've been located at 70 Clinton Road in Fairfield since 1998. My business is. Most of you know me as the chocolate guy. Mayor, John's been to my place. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm here to bring good news, okay? Is that all right? Is that allowed? So, I have been there since 1998. I calculated I've paid over $400,000 in taxes over that period, approximately $15,000 a year out of my rent, which is larger than the $11,000 that the average Fairfield resident pays in taxes. So as I said a long time ago, I do feel part of the town. Some of the people will remember me. I was here in 21 with Denny Gelvin, and the town was nice enough to give us a resolution of support to create a cannabis processing business. It's taken a little while with the state, which is an understatement, but we have started processing and manufacturing product that is, of course, legally approved and a bunch of other things required, only about 3 or 4 months ago. So the good news also is we've never had any visits from the police, the fire, or anything else. We're pretty much unknown in our little corner back there. I would say, for those who don't know exactly what we do, because there's a misimpression of cannabis, we're really a nutraceutical company. You had other nutraceutical manufacturers, I know in the Banyan Building and other places. So there's nothing in here, by the way. So we make products that help people sleep. We make products for people who have sugar issues. Okay, there is cannabis in these, but this is sugar-free. We make energy. We have a ex-law enforcement officer from another town. We have autistic employees, so we're pretty good in that community sense. I'm here for a couple reasons. First of all, we've also been written up in New Jersey Monthly, where they actually mention Fairfield, believe it or not. So as part of my license, under your regulations, I have to pay a 2% of my fee on a quarterly basis to the town. I thought it'd be really nice to thank you in person, deliver the check in the background, first of all. If I can do this, Denise. That goes to you, I believe. We also are required to annually renew our license, which I have to say I'm a little perplexed about. It was $500. It seemed to go up to $10,000. I don't really know the explanation for that. I think it's a little heavy. Fortunately, we're a micro, but towns in the neighborhood of this area that do allow it, from Little Falls, Rockaway, Jersey City, only charge $1,000 to $5,000. So I'm not sure why it's $10,000, but I also bought my check for that for my annual fee. With all the backdrop. So besides that, again, I'd like to thank the town for their support. You're more than welcome to visit and explaining. I did want to talk about, you do have a group called the Cannabis Advisory Committee. I would like to be put on that committee. Is that possible, to appoint somebody in town who actually has cannabis experience, since you seem to be writing a lot of laws about our operation? I don't know what the normal requirement of that is. Mayor?
Mr. Little, we have an ordinance, and the Cannabis Committee is in that ordinance. I'd have to go back and look at it to see who the members are. I know that I'm one of them, the CFO is one of them, possibly the mayor, but I'd have to look at the ordinance.
I think it's yourself, Denise, and an outside attorney, if I know correctly. Is that right, Denise?
No.
I don't know if a private business owner is allowed. I obviously can bring a lot of experience, since you're writing a lot of rules that affect us. I did want to talk about an opportunity. We see a lot of discussion about budgets and funds. We've had this discussion. I think Fairfield is missing an opportunity here. I'm not a retailer. My annual fees to Fairfield will probably be under $50,000 a year, but again, it's pretty much free money. I don't require police, firemen, schooling, or anything like that. I have about 60 clients in the state already over 3 months. I think that Fairfield, with all this talk about budget, should look at the opportunity a retailer on 46 could bring in the way of income. The town of Rockaway has 3 of them. If you contact Rockaway, I can tell you, if in the fiscal year of all 3, we'll bring $250,000 to $500,000 to Rockaway. Again, no police, no fire, no school, no added services. That's a lot of money for nothing at the end of the day. I know I'm the only nutraceutical company in town that pays 2% of my revenue. I know there's a 3% occupancy tax from the hotels. Of course, they're much bigger operations. I don't want to further talk about it, but if something you guys and girls are interested in knowing more about, I think you have an opportunity. You have Route 46 right here. I don't think it impinges on the town. I think it can be done tastefully. Many of you are familiar with Route 22. There are probably half a dozen, if more, dispensaries along that road. There's 3 in Union. There's 3 in Scotch Plains. There's 1 in North Plainfield. I just think that Fairfield shouldn't leave that money on the table. I know there's no dispensaries for miles. You have to go to Woodland Park, to the east, possibly Little Falls, to the west, Rockaway, to the north, Wayne. There's none in Wayne. This is really a good location, and I'm not saying this on my behalf. I'm not in the retail business. But I would suggest it's something worth looking into as an opportunity to make some more money for the town without any expense. Thank you again for your support.
Thank you, Mr. Little. It's always nice that one of our family of businesses is successful, and of course, we wish you future success, too. Okay, let's get back to... I think that's it, right?
That's it.
Public comment.
All right, we're going to close the public comment session at this point if no one else wishes to be heard. And our next meeting of the mayor and council will be Monday, August 26, 2024, 7 p.m. in these council chambers. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Campese, Councilman LaForgia.
Councilman Campese.
Aye.
Councilman LaForgia.
Yes, aye.
Council President Cifelli.
Aye.
Mayor Galise.
Aye.